cap and same-sex marriage after Monday?
Well, let's do one thing at a time. I will call an extraordinary session tomorrow if they don't have rent laws in place. They can pass a temporary extension, which, by the way, will be retroactive from Wednesday, which is when they expired, to Monday, which is when they plan to come back. But if rent laws are not in place, the legislature will remain in place. It's that simple.
And for a tax cap or same-sex marriage?
Then we'll negotiate next week.
Governor,
Yeah, Jimmy.
The Catholic Conference asked for an exemption in the bill, similar to the you shall not be grounds for lawsuit discriminating against the gay wedding, saying that you shall not suffer government penalty, be it a loss of tax-exempt status, a loss of funding for an organization. Is that something you're open to?
Well, Jimmy, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's okay. I am a proponent of marriage equality, and I'm working very hard to make that a reality in New York. I am also a proponent of religious freedom and separation of church and state. So these are both very important principles. I don't see one in competition with the other. I happen to be a Catholic, and that's my business, and that's my religion. This has nothing to do with my beliefs as a Catholic. This is marriage in a civil context, marriage as defined by government, not by a religion. And the law has to protect that separation, and that's what we're working through. And to the extent the Catholic Conference has questions about that, or any religion has questions about that, I believe that is a legitimate set of questions. I believe it's a legitimate area of interest. And we all want the law to keep those two things separate.
Governor, do you
The Archbishop today said that he's concerned that if there aren't changes to the bill language, that they may have to shut down adoption agencies, education, and social welfare programs.
Do you want me to help you? To the extent there's a question of separation of church and state, I think I've addressed that. These are two very separate concepts, and we're going to keep it that way.
Governor, do you anticipate...
Where did the Republican... It sounds like you're saying the Republican proposals that you've seen, on the face of it, they weren't unreasonable. They weren't poison pills. If that's the case, do you find that very encouraging for the overall bill?
No, Mike, yes, your characterization is correct. I find it encouraging. As I started by saying, I think this has been a good week. I feel very good about this week. I think we've made good progress. I think we're working well together. To the extent there are concerns in the Senate or the Catholic Conference or other religions that they want to make sure the line between church and state is intact and is clear, and that however the state defines marriage is the state's business and it will not be imposed on a religion. No. That is a very important point. And I am as equally concerned about that as I am in achieving marriage equality. That was the main, and that is the main area of concern for the senators, Republican senators. So we've had good meetings, we've had good discussions. I believe we can address their concerns without going over the line, which Dave Evans pointed to. You go too far and you can be discriminating against people. I believe we can accomplish that. Now, it's not done until it's done, and we all know that. And you need the words on a piece of paper, and people have to sign off on the words. But on the concept, I agree with the concept.
Governor, since the bill has already passed the Assembly, how does this work? Do we expect that the Assembly would have to re-vote on the bill, or there would be some kind of chapter amendment?
Chapter amendment.
Okay.
Governor, what happens if when the bill passes? Do you think President Obama should run on this issue for re-election? Do you think other states are going to follow New York?
I don't know. Well, Ozzie, I hope other states would look to New York. I believe this is the way of the future. I believe history 10 years from now will look back and say, what took so long? I believe this is like interracial marriages. You know, some states outlawed interracial marriages as late as 1968. 1968 sounds like a long time ago. It's not that long ago. I have a car from 1968. Still works, I still drive it. 1968, some states stopped interracial marriage. I think this is going to be a situation like that, where 10 years from now they'll look back and they'll say, well, what took them so long? What were they thinking? And I think New York should be at the head of that parade for justice and equality, and I believe it will be.
Governor, what's the status of your other measures that you want to get passed, the pension reform bill and the SUNY 2020 bill?
We're working through all of these issues and others, and I think we're making good progress. Are we going to get everything done? We're not going to get everything done, but I think it's going to be a very successful session when it's over. Hopefully, the legislature passes the rent extensions, and they go home Saturday and Sunday, and they enjoy Father's Day. As I said, if they don't, they'll be here for Saturday and Sunday. If they do, otherwise they'll come back on Monday, and then we'll wrap up the rest of the work next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it takes.
Governor, what measures are in trouble?
In trouble? Right now, Tom, I don't see any trouble. Monday will be a different day, but today I don't see any trouble.
Some things aren't going to pass. What's on your agenda that you think is not going to pass?
Right now, I don't have anything, I don't have any of the critical elements that are in jeopardy. Now, we have 30 or 40 initiatives we'd like to get done. Are we going to get 30 or 40 initiatives done? Probably not, and there will be some that fall off. But on the critical ones, I think we're in very good shape.
Governor, in terms of the long-term rent deal, the Democrats in the Assembly are still pressing for elimination of vacancy decontrol. Do you see that as part of the final?
We're going to be negotiating a full rent package. We're at the table now talking about it, and it's coming well. But I'd rather keep the negotiation at the table. Okay? Thank you all very much. Thanks. Have a nice weekend. Hopefully none of us are here, by the way.
Yeah, right.